we have Gilbert Vicario, who is the senior curator and division head for the curatorial. Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah. That's fine, or is it right?
That's right.
Okay, thank you. You're just being polite, but just go on, it's fine. Affairs at the Des Moines Arts Center, where he's responsible for organizing solo and group exhibitions of significant contemporary artists and ideas. So let's give him a round of applause.
This is going to be largely read because this is very complicated. I apologize in advance. I have a doctor's note that says I can have notes in here. The title of the exhibition, Survival Does Not Lie in the Heavens, by San Antonio-based artist Dario Robleto, opens September 23rd. I hope all of you can come back. That's in 2 weeks. Dario Robleto is currently interested in issues of survival and extinction, and overarching frameworks that are used for dealing with environmental and scientific concerns of the moment. Global warming, disappearance of glaciers, the rediscovery of once extinct animals, human supercentenarians, extinct languages and cultures. This is a piece in the exhibition called Defiant Gardens, which actually goes back to his interest in the Civil War and how Victorians mourned loved ones. Part of the interesting thing about Dario's work, this kind of got high all of a sudden. One of the interesting things about Robleto's work is that the ingredients or the contents that go into the making of his sculptures are almost as interesting as the sculptures themselves. This is a piece entitled Some Longings Survive Death. It's a tribute to a recently discovered woolly mammoth tusk due to the melting glaciers because of global warming. It's based on a Victorian shadow box and contains glacially released 50,000-year-old woolly mammoth tusks, 19th century braided hair flowers, etc., etc. This is a piece called A Homeopathic Treatment for Human Longing, which references various medical procedures that were used in the 19th century. For Robleto, it's a way of exploring the disconnection between ideas and notions about healing the body without taking into account memories and things that are intangible. This is a particularly interesting piece in terms of some of the contents and materials that he uses to construct a piece. There are a lot of homeopathic remedies that are included in the sculpture. These consist of sounds of glaciers melting, voice of oldest to ever live, last heartbeats of loved ones, million-year-old blossom, million-year-old raindrop, deceased lovers' heartbeats, Black Swan bone dust, and Sylvia Plath's voice. This is just another shot of some of the instruments that comprise that piece. It's designed as a kind of a 19th century steamer trunk. And a lot of the work actually goes back to that time period because Victorians were particularly clever at finding ways of dealing with emotions and with creating works that dealt with separation and loss. This is a piece called The Ark of Frailty, which is a cabinet that is dedicated to Lazarus species, that is, animal species that were once thought to be extinct and that were recently discovered. Not to be confused with an Elvis species, which is a look-alike species. That's according to Wikipedia. A companion piece to The Ark of Frailty deals with human supercentenarians. The title of the piece is The Boundary of Life is Quietly Crossed, and it basically commemorates supercentenarians, or people who are live past the age of 110. This is the black case that's coming up. I am killing a little bit of time here. Every time somebody is discovered to be the oldest living human being, Robleto designs a plaque and places it at the lower left-hand corner of the case. And then basically that person holds a title for maybe a few months, sometimes maybe even up to a year. And then when that person dies, then it gets replaced with the next person, so on and so forth. One of them, for example, is dedicated to the life of Eva Morris, a resident of Staffordshire, England, who died 6 days after her 115th birthday. The plaque goes on to state that her life spanned 3 centuries and attributed her longevity to whiskey and boiled onions. Taken together, these pieces attempt to examine the Darwinian principle of survival of the fittest while foreshadowing the possibility of our human extinction. The next piece that I'm going to show you is called The Common Denominator of Existence and Loss, which actually addresses the first human-induced incident of extinction, which scientists believed was a particular species of the cave bear during the Pleistocene period. Here's a shot of the piece. As you can see, the artist uses actual animal fossil remnants of cave bear paws, human hands, and he constructs a ring which looks like a Victorian hair braid, which I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with. In Robletto's case, it's actually made not out of human hair, but out of stretched audio tape that he braids, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. But Robletto, he's an interesting artist who's very much affected by popular music. His mother owned a honky-tonk bar in San Antonio, and then later worked at a hospice. So it was those two experiences that kind of led him to create work that dealt with longing, and that dealt with outmoded technologies. His earliest pieces that he made were sculptures made out of melted LP records. So here's an aerial view of that piece showing the cave bear paws in the human hands. The exhibition covers a lot of other themes, but just because of the time crunch, I wanted to focus on these two notions of survival and extinction, which really are the undercurrents of the exhibition. All of the work is from 2008 up to the present, and it's really the first time that all of this is being shown in a Midwestern museum, and really in a museum anywhere in the United States. This is the last slide that I'm going to show you, and it's called Words Tremble with the Thoughts They Express. And those writing quills that you see are actually, again, stretched audio tape that contain the voices of 4 lost human languages and the last recordings of extinct birds. He also just recently did an album cover for Yola Tango. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that group. But I'm done, so I hope to see you on September 22nd.